Hello everyone. Today, for the first time on this channel, we are going to Spain. So sit back as we go to 1950s Madrid. Jose Jarabo was born on the 28th of April 1923 in Madrid, Spain. His parents were wealthy and his father worked as a lawyer. In 1940, when he was 17 years old, Jose and his family moved to Puerto Rico, the island where his mother was born. This was a big move for the young Jose. He had to leave his school and his friends. In Spain, he was a quiet boy who studied hard and was extremely intelligent. But this move completely changed him. He started hanging around bars and in clubs, and he stopped his studies. He was a very handsome young man and was very popular in the bars and clubs in Puerto Rico. When he was 20, he married, but due to his colourful social life, the marriage ended in divorce very soon after. Jose then decided that he had to get away from Puerto Rico, so he moved to New York. Things didn't go well for him there. While hanging around the bars and clubs, Jose met gangs who specialised in drug trafficking and pornography. His criminal life lasted about as long as his marriage, and Jose was arrested, tried, and sent to prison. He served 4 years in the New York prison system, and when he was released, he went to the airport and took a plane back to his homeland. He arrived in Madrid on May the 20th, 1950. He returned with a substantial amount of cash, which his mother had given him, so he could establish himself in the capital and have a respectful business. Jose, however, had experience in drugs and prostitution, and 4 years in prison had also taught him how to operate in the world of crime. As soon as he arrived in Spain, he fell back to his criminal ways, and it didn't take long for him to be well known around Madrid. As well as being tall, strong and handsome, Jose also spoke perfect English. He was a very sharp dresser and intellectually brilliant, but he drank a lot and was always chasing women and spending money. The money his mother had given him to set himself up when he returned to his native country lasted only 2 years. In the spring of 1957, Jose met Beryl Martin Jones, a wealthy Englishwoman who lived in France. She came to Madrid as her marriage was experiencing difficulties. These were not made any better when she met Jose, and the two of them started a relationship. He was besotted by Beryl, and he thought that they would end up getting married as soon as she divorced her husband. For months, the couple enjoyed an expensive lifestyle of trips to the coast, meals at expensive restaurants, parties, cocaine, and alcohol. By the autumn, the couple's money had run out. Jose was waiting for the arrival of a shipment of cocaine, which was one of his sources of income, but the shipment had been delayed. Beryl had an expensive gold solitaire ring that she had been given by her husband, and as their financial situation was so bad, Jose persuaded Beryl to pawn the ring. It would be a simple transaction, as when Jose's cocaine arrived, he would pay the pawn shop and the ring would be returned. In Spain, people who urgently needed money could not go to Monte de Piedad, a legal pawn shop. They were forced to go to the underworld pawn shops, where the price for getting the item back was always higher. Jose went to the pawn shop owned by Emilio Fernandez Diaz and Felix Lopez Robledo. He knew them as he mixed in the underworld circle. He went with Beryl to the shop, but they were stunned when they were only offered 4,000 pesetas for the jewel, which was worth at least 5 times that amount. They did not have a choice but to accept the offer, but they figured that it would also be cheaper to recover the ring in a few days when the cocaine that Jose had been waiting for arrived. With the couple's expensive lifestyle, the money they received from the ring soon ran out, and shortly after, Beryl fell ill. As soon as her husband found out that she was not well, he came to Madrid and convinced her to return to Leon to spend Christmas with the family. In truth, she had little choice. Time passed, and Jose continued his criminal activities. Beryl wrote to him regularly, and in one of her letters reminded him of the gold solitaire ring. It was now spring of 1958, so 1 year after the couple had first met. Jose had completely forgotten about the ring, but he was a gentleman, so decided to recover it for Beryl. He went to the pawn shop and spoke to Emilio, but Emilia told Jose that the ring couldn't be given back to him, as he was not the legal owner. "But she is in Leon," said Jose. Emilia advised him to get a letter of authorization from Beryl. He returned the next day with a letter asking him to recover the ring. Emilio told him that it would cost 10,000 pesetas to recover it, so 2.5 times more than they had paid for it 6 months earlier. Jose needed time to get the money together, so they agreed that he would return when he had it, and the letter was kept in the safe of the shop. In June, Jose had the money, so he returned to collect the ring, only now the pawnbrokers said the price had gone up to 20,000 pesetas. "How can the price double in 2 months?" he asked. But the pawnbrokers said it was the price, and it was not negotiable. A month later, Jose had the money, so on July the 19th, he phoned the pawnbrokers and agreed with the owners, Felix and Emilio, to go there at 8:30 in the evening and give them the 20,000 pesetas to recover the ring and the letter. The pawnbrokers waited, but Jose did not arrive for the appointment. Felix and Emilio kept their shop open until 9:30, but tired of waiting, they decided to close the business for the day. Emilio went to his apartment, and Felix went to the movies with his girlfriend. Later that evening, Jose went to the shop, but finding it closed, decided to go to the home of Emilio. He had been drinking and using cocaine. To access the apartment located on the 4th floor, Jose entered the elevator and pressed the buttons with his elbows to avoid leaving fingerprints. When he arrived at the apartment, he rang the bell, again with his elbows. Paulina Ramos, an employee of the family, came to the door. She invited Jose in and took him to see Emilio before going to the kitchen to prepare dinner. Emilio told Jose that he does not conduct business in his home and to make another appointment to visit the pawn shop. Jose apologized and went to leave the apartment. He opened and shut the front door, but stayed inside. Emilio heard the door slam and, thinking his unwanted guest had left, made his way to the bathroom. Jose followed him to the bathroom, took out a gun and shot him twice in the head. Alerted by the noise, Paulina Ramos left the kitchen to see what was going on. When she saw Emilio dead on the floor, she tried to run, but Jose grabbed her and dragged her to the kitchen. There, using the knife which she had been using to cut the vegetables, he stabbed her in the heart, killing her instantly. He then dragged her to the service quarter and dumped her body on the bed. After a few minutes, Emilio's wife, Maria, entered the apartment. Jose introduced himself as a tax inspector and told her that they had taken her husband for some checks at the shop. He told her to sit and wait in the dining room. She did this for a few moments, but then decided to go to the bathroom. There, she found her husband dead and covered in blood. Jose thought he had no choice and shot Maria in the head. He didn't know at the time, but Maria was pregnant. Jose was calm and decided to fill the crime scene with false leads to mislead the police. He placed glasses and bottles in the living room, painted his lips with the rouge lipstick that Maria was using, and stained some glasses with it. He also broke a couple of glasses and took some valuables from the apartment. He then removed the underwear from the maid's body to make it look like a sexual assault. He then went to sleep on the sofa in the victim's living room. The next day was Sunday, so no one would realise that the family were not doing their usual daily routines. Jose calmly took a clean shirt from his victim's closet, picked up the keys of the pawn shop and left the building. He ate breakfast in a cafe and went to the cinema. In the afternoon, he went back to his lodgings and started drinking gin. Later, he went for a walk. Early on Monday morning, Jose left his lodgings and telephoned the house of Emilio's partner, Felix. The lady who answered the phone informed him that Felix had already left to open the shop. Jose then went to the pawn shop and with the keys he had stolen from Emilio entered the premises via the back door. He waited for Felix to arrive, and when he did, he demanded the letter from Beryl and the ring. He then fired 2 shots at Felix, killing him instantly. Felix fell to the floor by the door, and the amount of blood coming from the body meant that it would spread outside into the street. Jose quickly moved the body to the back of the room, and after he spread sawdust on the blood. He then went to retrieve the ring and the letter, but he could not locate either. He could not even find the key to open the safe. Everything he had done in vain. Jose then took his blood-stained suit to the dry cleaners. He told the shop assistant that the previous night he had been involved in a fight at a local club. He had hardly been touched, but he said the other guy bled a lot. Later that day, Felix's body was found in the shop. The neighbouring shopkeepers had contacted the police as the business was closed. Hours later, the police went to Emilio's apartment and found the other 3 victims. It was summer in Madrid and 48 hours since they had been shot. Sebastian Fernandez Rivas, the chief inspector, realised getting the culprit responsible for the killings would be very difficult. It was clear that the murders were all related to the business, and even though they had a client file, it was like finding a needle in a haystack. The customers were too many, and almost everyone had a good reason to want to murder Emilio and Felix. On the second floor of an old house on the Calle del Correo, where the headquarters of the Criminal Investigation Squad were located, the light was not turned off all night. Remarkably, a breakthrough came the following day, Tuesday, July the 22nd, as after seeing in the press the news of the 4 murders, the owner of the dry cleaner went to the police to report the blood-stained suit that Jose had brought in. Having no other leads to go on, a few hours later, Jose was arrested and questioned about the murders. The police were expecting a long interrogation, but they were mistaken, as Jose did not put up the slightest resistance. He accepted his fate and asked for food to be bought for everyone and a bottle of French cognac. He also got an injection of morphine. He spoke like an after-dinner speaker, telling the police the whole story of the ring and the letter. He said he deeply felt for the death of the 2 women, but he had no remorse for those who had robbed and tricked him. On Thursday, January the 29th, 1959. The trial began at the Palace of Justice in Madrid. The room was filled with celebrities, artists, sportspeople, and the wives of high officials. José's entrance was very impressive. He was wearing a suit that fitted him like a glove, and he walked with a firm and determined step. He smiled at all the women. The trial lasted for 5 days, and on each day he wore a new suit. His immaculate dress sense was not going to save him, and José was found guilty of murdering 4 people, a crime that was punishable by death. His execution was set for July the 4th, 1959. The night before he was due to be executed, José smoked and drank, but he refused to take off his tie. At 5 o'clock in the morning, he went to Mass and he received communion. To combat the summer heat and not wanting to give up his proverbial style, even in death, José decided to go to the gallows wearing an elegant summer outfit. The white suit was totally ruined by the inefficiency of the garrote, the preferred Spanish execution method since the 1600s, which extended the agony of the accused for more than 20 minutes. The body was taken to the cemetery, escorted by police cars. In the cemetery there was an incident, as a rumour was circulating in Madrid that José had not been executed thanks to his influences, and a commissioner heard that one of his drivers commented on it, adding that the one who was in the coffin was a gypsy, who was also condemned to death. The commissioner grabbed the driver by the arm, put the gun to his temple, and forced him to open the coffin. "Is it José or not?" he said. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for listening. As usual, I would very much appreciate all your comments and feedback on this case. And I will see you in the next brief case.